The EU's refusal to allow any progress in the talks unless Britain agrees to its obsessions on fishing and state subsidies means that the talks will time out next month with no deal. The warning from Britain's negotiating team led by David Frost comes ahead of another crucial week of talks with Brussels accused of only being interested in trying to take the moral high ground, rather than knuckle down, to make a deal. The Brussels negotiators led by Michel Barnier are actively blocking the writing of complex legal texts on the areas where there is agreement to allow for trade in goods and services unless Britain agrees to their unreasonable obsessions. Boris Johnson has already warned that a deal needs to have been agreed by the end of next month or he will pull the plug on the talks and go for no deal at the end of the transition period on December 31 this year. This, according to Brexiteers, would jeopardise the withdrawal agreement at a great cost for the EU because it would lose out on the £39 billion divorce bill from Britain. The UK government has made it clear that the EU demands on access to fishing waters and forcing Britain to abide by single market rules are unacceptable. And writing for the Sunday Express today, former Brexit minister and European Research Group deputy chairman David Jones has warned that any compromise in these areas will be damaging to the party in the red wall seats won in December. He wrote, "Last year's election presented a very clear, unambiguous, message to the Conservative Party: secure a strong Brexit deal and leave the European Union if you want to hold power in Westminster." The voters who abandoned Labour in its northern heartlands in December 2019, and swung behind the Tories, did so in the expectation of a clean and final separation from Brussels and the diktats of EU commissioners. They have accused Brussels of trying to pick and choose what parts of Brexit the EU accepts and failing to understand that Britain will be a sovereign country. In a dig at Theresa May's government, a senior Whitehall source suggested that the EU has not understood that part of the problem is that the previous negotiating team led by Lord Robbins only believed in Brexit in name only. The source said, "When talking to the previous government, the EU were dealing with a negotiating team that may have wanted Brexit in name only, with minimal changes. That is clearly not the case now. The EU needs to realise that we are not up for continuing previous arrangements. When they understand that, it will be much easier to make progress."